What's going on, everyone? Jason here again, and in this video we're going to build another Tailwind CSS project. For this one, we're going to build another project from the front-end mentor website. And so this is the project that we'll be building. It's called an article preview component. And so this is what it looks like on desktop, and this is what it'll look like on mobile. So we'll be building this mobile version out. And if we go to the finished version here, I have it set up. So this is the mobile version that we'll be building, and here is the desktop. So they look pretty similar. So we'll be using Tailwind CSS to build that out, along with Next.js to set up the project. And so, yep, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we'll need to do is set up our Next.js app. And so to do that, in your terminal, in the folder directory, you'll have to do a npx create-next-app, and then the name of your application. So we'll call this article preview component. Click enter. Once that has been set up, we'll cd into our directory. And then inside our directory, we're going to install our dependencies. And so in here, we're going to install the Tailwind dependency. So we'll just do a yarn add Tailwind CSS, copy that. Once that has been set up, let's go ahead and go into our project directory. Inside our project directory, you can see we have our Next.js set up. We have our pages directory there, public directory. And so the next thing we'll do is inside our directory, we're going to create another folder. We'll call this one styles. So this is where our CSS styles are going to be at for Tailwind. And if we go back to the Tailwind website, you can see it'll tell you how to add Tailwind to your CSS. And so we'll create a index.css inside our styles directory. And then we can go ahead and copy this in here. And we can save that. And then we can go ahead and create a config file. So this will be if we want to extend certain styles in our CSS. So to do that, we can do an npx tailwind CSS init. And we can go to our directory. And I don't think we'll need to make use of this in this project, but we'll just go ahead and do it just so you can see how it's done. And there is our tailwind.config. We can close this out. Okay, and now we'll need to set up our post CSS in our Next.js application. And so in our directory, we'll need to create another file. This will be called post css.config.js. And then we can copy this in here. And we can just in here do Tailwind CSS like that. And we can remove this. There we go. Now let's go ahead and start up our next project. So let's go into our terminal and we can do a yarn dev in here to start it up. Then we can go back and we can do localhost. Okay, so here is our next project set up, and now we can go ahead and start adding our Tailwind styles and adding our markup. And so the first thing I'm going to do is inside pages, I'm going to create a couple files. First one will be the app_app.js. The second one will be the _document.js. So these are custom Next.js components. And so if we go back to Next.js and we go to docs, let's go to _app. And let's see. Custom app component. So this is a component where all of the components get initialized. And so this is where we want to add our styles for Tailwind. So let's go ahead and just copy what we have in here. Oops, not in here, but in the _app. And in here we can do an import. And then we can just do an, let's see, underscore or // styles /index.css. So now we'll have our styles in all of our components. And so let's save that. And now let's do an underscore document. So we'll use this to have access to the HTML and body tag in our components. And we can go in here, copy that there. And so we'll be using this just so we can add some styles to the body tag there. Okay. And now let's go back to the index.js file and we can remove some of this markup that we have. So we don't need all of this here, the style, main, footer tags. We can remove all of that. We can leave the head tag and we can just call this article preview component. Save it. Let's go back. And as you can see, that has changed. Of course, we don't have anything here yet. But if we add a p tag, hello, go back, there it is. Of course, yep, so one thing I forgot to do is you'll need to restart your server when adding those custom app and document components. So those changes will take effect. So let's restart our server and run that again. And as you can see, the hello text has changed thanks to the Tailwind CSS styles. And so let's go ahead and go back to our directory. And one thing I added off camera is I added this image folder inside the public directory. And this directory or this folder will contain the images for our component. And so you can actually get all of these assets and SVG files from the Front-End Mentor Challenge website for this project. So if you click on here, it'll download all of the assets for you. And so that's where we got that. And as you can see, I have this mobile design JPEG open for us to reference. And yep, so we got that there. And so let's go ahead and start building out the component. First, we're going to go to document, and here is where we'll have access to the body tag. And so inside the body tag, we're going to add a class name. And in here, we're going to add a styling for the background. So this is kind of a grayish background. And so for that, we can do a bg-gray-200. And that should give us the background color that we need. And let's see. So I believe that did change. Let's just remove this real quick. Go back. Yep, so now it looks like that gray color is taking effect. Cool. And so now we can go into the index. In the index file, we're going to remove that. And then we're going to add a div. And inside here, we're going to add a class name. And so this will be the outer outer container of the component. And so in here, we'll do a class name of mx-auto to center it. And I believe that should be good for now. And also let's change this to this outermost div for this component. We're going to change this and add a px-8 mt-10. So px for padding on the x-axis, so left and right, and we're just adding mt, which is margin top of 10. So that way in our mobile version, we'll have some padding around here. And so let's go ahead and save that. Let's go ahead and just add the image here as well. So for the image source, we're going to use the drawers JPEG. So to access that, we can do, let's see, so we'll do /images/drawers.jpg. And then we'll add a class name to add some styles here. And for that, we're going to add the rounded corners right here. And so for that, we'll do rounded-tr, tr meaning top right, and then we'll do md. So that's like a specific size of rounded corners. And then we'll add another one, rounded top left, MD. And then we're going to add a height here, height of 48, as well as a width. So we'll give this a width of full. And I believe that should be good for now. So let's save it and let's go back. Let's actually view this on mobile. All right. So there's the mobile version, and looks like it's looking good so far. Now we'll add the next section. So the next section we'll add will be this area right here. And so down here, we're going to add a div tag. Inside this div tag, we're going to add a class name. The class names that we'll add will be the background. So we'll add a background of white here, and also a padding of 8. We're going to add some rounded corners to the top or bottom left, bottom right. So we'll do rounded BL MD, rounded BR MD. There we go. That should be good. And then inside here, we're going to add the markup. We're going to add an H2. Inside the H2, we're going to add this text. So it's going to be shift the overall look and feel. All right, I'll go ahead and add this text real quick. There is the text. Let's go back and see what we got. Okay, that's looking good. So let's go back and add some styles to this text here. In the H2, we're going to add another class name. For this one, we're going to change the text color to text gray 700. I think that should be a good color. And that looks good. And so it needs to be a little bit bolded and probably a little bit bigger. And so then let's go back and add that. So we're going to add a font. We're going to add the bolded text. So for that, we'll do font semi-bold. There you go. That's looking good. And also, I think that should be good. I think that's a good size for that. So let's go down here then. After the H2, we're going to add this text right there. So let me add that text real quick. We got the text there. Let's go back. Okay, let's go ahead and adjust the styling here. So this is what it looks like now. We want it to look like this. So we're going to add probably some padding or margins up here and adjust the text. And so inside the p tag, we'll add a class name. Inside the class name, we'll do text -sm. That'll make the text a little bit smaller. Text -gray. Let's do 600 for this one. And let's do a margin top of 4 and save that. Go back. And I think that's looking good. Next thing we'll add will be this bottom area here with the avatar, the name, and the icon. And so after the p tag, we're going to add a div. So this will be the container div for that area. And in here, we're going to add a class name. In the class name, we want to make sure these are aligned side by side. And so we're going to add a class name here of flex using the flexbox functionality in CSS. So for Tailwind, you just need to add a flex tag or a flex name. And then we'll do items -center to center those items. And let's add some margin top here as well. And then let's see. So inside here, so I'm going to have 2 flex divs. So I'm going to have this whole div be flexed. And then inside this div, we're going to have 2 divs. So we'll have this div and then this div. And so then we'll flex this div as well. So if we go back, so this is the outer div, and then this div will be for the actual avatar and the name. And so we're going to do in here, class name equals, and that will be flex, and then items center as well. Okay, now we'll go ahead and add some of the markup. We'll add the image tag in here for the avatar. For that, we'll do, the source will be /images /avatar Michelle.jpg. And then in the image tag, we're going to add a class name. And for the class name, We're going to make this a height of 10 as well as a width of 10. So that'll be H10, H-10, W-10. And then we're going to make this rounded. We're going to make it a circle. So for that, we'll just do rounded full for the radius. And that should be good. Let's go ahead and go back, see how it looks. There we go. That's looking good so far. And then after that image tag, we'll add another div. So in here is where we'll add the actual name and the date there. And so in here, we'll add a div. We'll give this a class name of, let's see, let's do margin left of 4, since we want this to be a little bit to the side. And then in here, we'll add the the p tag. And for this p tag, we'll just add the name, Michelle Appleton. And then we'll add the date. That'll be 28 June 2020. Save that. Let's go back. All right. And it's looking okay, but we still need to make some adjustments. And so we'll need to probably make it smaller and make this more bold and change the text style for that, the color. So for Michelle, we're going to add a class name. And the class name, we're going to add text gray. This is going to be a darker gray, so this will be 800. The text will be small, so text SM. And then font dash semi-bold. Okay, let's go to the date. This one will be text gray dash 600. It won't be as dark. Text SM as well. Save that. Let's go back, and that's looking good. All right, now we just need that share icon that we had. So if we go here, we need to add this icon. And so for that, we'll need to go, let's see. So after the outer flex div, so after this one, after that one, we're going to add a div. This one, we're going to add a class name. And for that, we're going to do, let's see, we're going to add a width of 8. So this will be like the circle area. So this will be like the circle div. So we're going to make that a width of 8, height of 8, and ML-auto. ML-auto, so margin left auto, so it'll be all the way to the right of that container. And BG-gray-200 for the background color. Rounded-full, since it's going to be a circle. And let's see, let's go ahead and save that. Go back, see how it looks. All right, that's looking about right. And let's see, so let's go ahead and add the SVG. So if we go to the icon share, there's an SVG file here, or SVG tag, so we can just copy that. Go back in here, copy it, and whoops, paste that in there. Okay, and let's see, so I think we can just leave these default properties there. I think that's fine. So let's save that, go back. Okay, so this icon is positioned over here, so we don't want that there. So what we can do then is in the outer div, in this div here that's surrounding the SVG icon, we can actually make use of flex box again. So we'll add a flex property here, do an items center, and then justify center. Let's go back, and now it is nicely centered in the middle. So that is looking good. All right, cool. So it looks like we have the styling done for the mobile version. So we can add like different device widths here. So we'll do iPhone X, iPhone 5. Let's see, Pixel 2 XL. So I think it's looking good. Cool. So then the next thing we'll do is we're going to make this be responsive for desktop now. So we're just going to need to add some additional class names to certain elements. So let's go ahead and do that. If we change our page to look more like a desktop version, as you can see, it is looking pretty distorted. So we'll be adding some class names to make sure it looks similar to what we have in the picture here on desktop. So make it look more like that. And so to start off, in the index.js file, I'm going to add a, let's see up here. So I'm going to add an LG column, and LG just means that we want to apply these styles anytime the device width gets larger than 1024 pixels, I believe. And so in here, we're going to make sure we make this a width of 3/5. And we also want to flex this, and we want to do a flex row. And because we want to make sure that these are side by side when we get to this width, so that's why we're adding that flex dash row. And also we want to give this a height of auto. Okay. If we go back, as you can see, it's pretty distorted, but we need to make some more adjustments. And so in the image class, or in the image tag, we're going to then add some LG class names. So LG column. And for this one, we're going to do a H of auto. And then we're going to do an LG of width of 2/5. Also, we want to make this a rounded of bottom left, rounded corners on the bottom left, and also rounded, no rounded corners on the top right. So that'll be rounded dash TR dash none. So that way we don't have any rounded corners when we get to this view, because originally we had this and this were rounded, so we don't want this to be rounded when we get to this view. Okay, and let's see, I think that should be good. Let's save it, go back. All right, that is looking good so far. Now let's go ahead and make some adjustments here as well. If we go into this div tag, let's go down here. So we're going to add an LG here, LG column, and we're going to add rounded BL none, and then we're going to do rounded top right of MD. Let's go back. That's looking good. And so let's go ahead and just do a quick overview. So we have on mobile, that's how it looks on mobile for different devices. That looks good. Let's go back to the desktop. Very cool. So that's the finished project there. So I hope you all enjoyed it and you learned a little bit more about Tailwind CSS. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good day.